Today's episode is a high-octane ride into the mind of a man who spent his life navigating risk, both in the boardroom and behind the wheel. From racing in the Mustang class at the legendary 24-hour Le Mans to developing a cutting-edge motorsports facility right here in the Emerald Coast. Our guest is equal parts visionary, competitor, and builder. He's led Fortune 500 companies, managed billion-dollar deals, and now he's channeling that same drive into racing, community development, and legacy. We'll get into what it really feels like to take a corner at Le Mans, what it takes to build a racetrack from the ground up, and how a lifetime of business leadership fuels the passion for speed. Strap in.
Room.
Because this one's not just about horsepower. It's about purpose, risk, and what it means to build something that lasts. So let's give a warm jabroni welcome to my friend and neighbor, Steve Denton. Yeah,
Steve,
baby.
Thank you, Jason. Appreciate you.
Absolutely.
What the hell do I know? I'm just JB, middle-aged dad with ADD. Candid convos, jokes so lame, jabronis pulling a poker face. Just a couple of dudes with ADD. What the hell do I know? With JB.
Cheer! That was Juice's line. Clearly, Juice ain't here. He's got good excuse.
Yeah, Juice had. We were laughing. He actually had a death in the family, but
he did. It's good.
So he's dealing with that. His mother-in-law had passed after battling some. She was really in a tough situation.
Yeah.
So she battled. Gosh, I feel like it was liver, but I'm not 100% certain right now.
I just knew she was in the ER.
She was ER for quite a while. Yeah. And but then he's shooting the ECBC now too, so he's got a lot going on right now. So he's the Emerald Coast Billfish Classic,
Marlin Classic.
Is it Blue Marlin? I think
Blue
it's Billfish.
It's not, but
I think it's Blue Marlin.
It's Blue Marlin.
It's Blue Marlin. But
I'd like a check on that, somebody.
But I'm pretty sure. But isn't Blue Marlin a billfish? Is it
yes.
not? All right, so it's
we're gonna find out before the end of the show.
It's all right.
We're gonna find out.
It's okay that you're wrong. Totally. I won't say I told you so.
But I do want to welcome everybody to the Floors.com studio here in studio. Floors.com. That's FLOOR Z.com. Got to check them out. Floors.com is your one-stop shop for all your next flooring or wall covering remodel or new build. Again, government IDs.
Yep.
They will give you a 5% discount. You get a government ID. That's
first responder.
First responders, all that good stuff. So,
nice.
So they're great.
Yep.
Yeah, give them a buzz in. Give them a call, man. They'll ship you stuff.
That's right.
Anywhere. They're online. They've got designers in the studio. So if you're in like Washington State, and you're like, I want some bamboo floors.
That's right.
But I don't know exactly if I want to do herringbone or what it look like or what should I match with my cabinets. Give Floors a call. Give them a call. They'll put you in touch with the designer. They'll get on the call. They'll help you pick the right stuff out for you. And it's like you're in the store. I mean, it's 21st century here. Floors.com, baby.
A lot of dudes out there, their wives want a new kitchen floor. Just look it up.
Yeah, you'll get some brownie points
right.
today. That's for sure. That's for sure. But, man, so, Steve, it is great. I mean, you're a neighbor of mine, a friend of mine, a fellow Bulldog as well.
That's right.
Go Dogs!
Go Dogs! So, yeah. So,
we can even sing the song, but we won't.
could.
I know it. We won't. But
Fortunately, it doesn't have a lot of words.
Before we play What the Hell Do I Know with Steve Denton, what I do want to ask you is, do you have any inside information to the Georgia Bulldog season this coming year?
I don't. I mean,
transfers have changed the game.
How do you feel? Yeah,
you don't have a second team. Your second team's somebody else's first team.
That's right. Now it is.
You're exactly
so we used to run. We won our first national championship 3 years ago.
That's right.
3 down linemen on the defensive line. We ran 9 guys in a rotation. Mm-hmm. You'll never do that. You'll never see that.
Never again.
Probably best defense we'll ever see.
Unbelievable.
Probably.
Yeah. Do you think it'll be any team will ever get that, or we're just kind of?
No,
Not
I
till
think
the
it'll
rules
be.
change.
I think it'll be flash in a pan. The problem is you can get talent.
Yeah.
Is how do you make chemistry? Because chemistry makes a great football team.
That's right.
Mm-hmm.
And that's going to be difficult.
Well, if anybody can do it, I believe in Kirby Smart.
I do too.
I agree.
Kirby Smart, I trust. That's for sure.
Do you know why my race car is number 16?
That'd be the old safety there, right?
That's right.
Kirby's
That was
smart,
Kirby's
baby.
number when he played
That
in
was
Georgia.
his number.
That's great. Did you change that? Or
I
did.
did.
You, oh, that's so
Shout out
good.
Kirby.
Herbs, if
We
you
sold
listen.
the old car, so the 540's gone.
Okay.
So we can't rename another car that. So
I got you.
I had to come up with something new.
16.
I like it.
I love it. I love it. And he was quite the stud out there. I mean, he was
play
not
football.
a big dude, but he could play.
He could play football.
He could play some football.
Yeah.
That's right. But it is now time to play What the Hell Do I Know with Steve Denton. It's 7 questions, rapid succession. We'll put a clock on, and you can pass if you need to. No worries. No gotcha questions. So let's get the clock on, and here we go.
Pressure.
Number 1. What is the first car you ever owned, and how did you treat it?
It was a 1971 Ford pickup truck
Okay.
in 1984.
Okay.
You know, I could wax it once a week and it would be faded by the end of the week.
So you did all right with it. You took care of it.
Yeah,
sounds
well, the
like.
grered news was when you'd pull into the 7-Eleven to get your Slurpee,
Yeah.
you'd turn the car off, when you come out, it's still running.
It's so good. No.
Number 2, you get one racetrack snack for life. What are you grabbing?
Oh, boy, that's a good one. You know, I love peanuts,
Okay.
but peanuts are bad luck in the pits.
I
It
didn't know
happens
that.
every time.
clue.
It's a peanut product, next session out, someone's crashing.
Wow.
So I really like the mustard pretzels.
Okay.
All right.
Kind of
Mustard
calms your
pretzels.
stomach,
All right.
kind of settles
That's
you down.
good. All right. Number 3, if you could race any vehicle from history, real or fictional, what would it be?
I'd definitely go back to the Ford GT.
Okay.
You know,
Yeah.
the one that won 66, 67 in Le Mans.
Made
Okay.
a movie about it, didn't they?
Hey,
Yeah,
absolutely.
they sure did.
They
They
did.
sure did. I was going to say Batmobile, but whatever. What's your pump-up song before a big moment, boardroom or racetrack? Either
Well,
one.
that's a good question. I mean, come on, you got to like the Bob O'Reilly song, right? Mm-hmm. That the Georgia Bulldogs come out to.
Oh, yeah,
that,
yeah.
that pretty much gets my blood
Okay.
flowing.
All right. Number 5, you wake up tomorrow fluent in any language. What would it be?
Spanish.
Okay.
I like
all
it.
right. Number 6, if you had to be on a reality TV show, which one are you most likely to win?
I think Wheel of Fortune.
Oh, come on.
I was gonna say
baby.
Amazing
I
Race.
Love it. I love it. You also grill. Really, I've had your wings, and you
That's
smoke
true.
some great wings. Number 7, if your life had a pit crew, what would they be doing for you right now?
Just say that again.
If your life
Yes.
had a pit crew, what would they be doing for you right now?
They'd be doing all the chores around the house that I don't like to do.
Yeah, okay.
Good answer. Good answer. Well, you did great. I mean,
job.
absolutely great job. Great job, Steve. You're off the hot seat. Good.
That's
good job
good.
there. Yeah, it's easy. It was easy.
Is it hot in here? Is it me?
It's the
It is
lights.
a little warm.
It's the lights.
The lights definitely turned it on. No, you did great, man. That was awesome, man.
I'm not sure Wheel of Fortune's a reality show though.
It's pretty real. It
is
happens to be reality.
It's
happened in
reality.
real
It's
time.
reality. Yeah, they had like a pit master. I could have done something like that. A pit master might. I don't know that I'd win it, but I'd certainly want to try.
Oh, yeah.
You know, I feel like get me a grill and a smoker and different things like that. I'm not nearly as serious as some of those people. Have you seen the one on like Netflix where they're like out behind a barn or something, and they give like 10 people all these different tools to cook? Have you seen this?
No, I've
haven't.
seen the one that they got the 3 grills. They all get the
Okay.
same meat.
Okay.
Yeah, I'm afraid I'd come back and I'd forgot to turn on the grill or
Yeah.
get my coals hot or something.
Yeah, I love to
I'd be
do
doing
it.
a little tartare.
You know what's funny is my brother and I were talking. We've been to some really good barbecue joints. You know, you can go to Texas, you can go to Alabama, the Carolinas, Georgia, of course. Florida, we're not quite as known, but there's a few spots. I mean, we've got one right next to the studio that's doing pretty good at EV May, and so there's some good barbecue. But what's funny is once you learn how to smoke, you know, your ribs or you know your barbecue and stuff, you just start to get what you like.
Yes,
It's hard to beat what you can do.
absolutely. Fantastic.
So, yeah, for sure. So diving into you were doing this racing. I know you were in the racing. You're big into it, and you just came back from the Mustang class at Le Mans, right? Take us inside that experience.
Sure. Well, first of all, it was from Ford Performance, and it's a Mustang Dark Horse R series that runs the United States called the Mustang Challenge. Mm-hmm. They shipped 40 cars over to Europe for this race. I was asked by a team in Europe from a former driver that drove with us who's driving over there if I wanted a seat, and I said, let's do it. Never driven a Mustang race car. I usually drive Porsches. And so completely different feel on an 8-mile track that I drove in the simulator, so I knew where it went. I knew to turn left and right and when to. But other than that, it was just all new learning experience.
They put the engines in a different place in those cars than the Porsche.
It is because
they're in the front. They're front engine.
They're front
right?
engine,
Okay.
so you gotta. It's a heavier car. Sits up higher, so you get a lot more roll. Whereas the Porsche, the engine's in the back.
Right.
So the back end is loose. It feels loose compared to what I'm normally racing.
Okay, and then do they do anything? They're shipping 40 of them over. Do they do? And so they're really just showcasing the power of the Mustang.
That's right.
And it's a GT, I assume.
It's the Dark Horse, R race car.
Okay.
It's a 5-liter, 500 horsepower.
Okay.
And it's outside of the suspension and a roll cage. It is the same as a street car.
So you could buy that car.
Absolutely.
Okay. So
And you
that's what I wanted. That's what I was wondering.
That's right. And because they're trying to separate drivers, every car is the same. You can't touch the engine. They're sealed.
Wow.
Transmission sealed.
That's like the old
So they
IROC
do-
kind
It
of
is.
thing. Yeah.
It is
so
a lot
they're
like
doing
that.
it. Yeah, you're not getting away like any NASCAR thing where you shave an inch here, shave an inch there, sort of stuff. It's
No, and
sealed
they
up.
tech them right after every race. One
Really?
guy who was very fast was 3 millimeters at the end of the race. His front splitter was low. And he that was actually in qualifying, and he got moved to the back of the race
Because of it.
both starts.
Do you think that was? I mean, we don't want to call anybody out or anything, but
He ended up finishing in 40 cars. The first race he finished 7th,
Okay.
and the second race he finished 2nd. So he's pretty quick.
So that's pretty quick. It seems like there might have been some adjusting happening there. You just never know.
He's just a talented driver.
Okay, all right.
I bet there's a lot of talented drivers over there, though.
Is there anything
Right?
you can do to a race car to make it faster? I mean, what are the things that you could do if you're allowed?
Sure. I mean, you could absolutely flash the engine. All of them are run by computers, so you can grab more horsepower out of it. What your exhaust is, you can by the straight exhaust.
Okay.
Because there's no catalytic converters in a race car.
Right, but and exhaust is just allowing. Is allowing to?
That's right.
to
You're
pull out
opening,
more.
you're opening up the throttle body and the plenum. But in every race series, there's a standard.
Okay.
That what's your horsepower, what's your torque ratio, what's the weight of the car.
Right.
And so a lot of times I'm in multi-class racing. There might be 5 different classes running at once. But the cars that you're racing against, they check them at the end of the race to make sure that no one's cheating.
Yeah.
And you're normally running a Porsche,
Porsche GT3 Cup car.
the Porsche GT3 Cup.
Yes.
Okay, and that's what you run, and that's North America,
Right.
primarily in the southeast, or does it go across to the west?
Across the country.
Across the country.
Yep.
How many races a year is that?
8 to 10.
And you do that with your brother?
I do. My brother has his own car.
Okay.
We got into this at the same time.
Okay.
About 14 years ago.
Okay.
And we've never looked back. We did the Porsche school
Yes.
at Barber.
Okay.
And we said we're going to do more of this.
You said I like this a lot.
So the question is, who's faster?
yeah.
Yeah,
that
who is
the
faster,
question.
you or
Who's
your brother?
faster?
So whoever was last in the car. Literally, we're so competitive.
So competitive. It's like I'll show you.
So if I'm out there and it's just a practice session, I'll radio in and say, "What did Paul run?"
That's right.
And they tell me, and I'll get 1/100 of a second. I don't care if I come back with a steering wheel.
I'm gonna ride it till it dies.
That's so good. That's so good.
I'm getting that hundreds of
And
a
it's
second.
it's Denton Cardin Racing. Is
That's
that right?
correct. Yes.
And we have some pictures of you at Le Mans. Can we show up one of the? Let's throw up one of his photos there. There we go. So this was you at Le Mans here. They were flashing up there, and that's great. And that's your team. It looks like, and you get into the car.
Absolutely. So
awesome.
check out that helmet. My brother had
let's
that
go back to
custom
it. Go
painted
back to
for
it. I
me
wanna-
before I went over there.
Oh yeah.
Look at the Mustang on the side.
That's right.
Oh,
That's
that was
right.
fancy.
That was really cool.
Your brother had that helmet custom painted.
He
for you.
did. He surprised me with it the night before we left.
Oh, that's
that's cool.
It was
awesome.
incredible.
That's so cool. That's awesome. Yeah, that's a great little flyer they did there too. We have one of him in the car. There we
you
go.
go.
There we go.
That was right after the race, and so no cool suit or anything else. It was hot
I
there.
bet it was.
So do you have a cool suit when you're
I
running?
normally have a cool
Yeah.
shirt that
Yeah.
runs, and
Yep.
didn't have it because it was not my car.
Right.
So you're wearing 3 layers of oven mitt.
Wow.
Throw yourself in there, and we got hamburger helper at the end.
Heck yeah,
Yeah.
you do. How long's
I need
the
a water.
race?
45 minutes.
45-minute race. Okay.
Yep.
So you're running with 40 cars.
That's right.
Now, how many qualified? Because they sent 40 over. How many are racing on the race?
So I think they had 38 and 39, but everybody that could get it, the qualifying is just where you start.
Okay. Fair.
Everybody. So they vetted the drivers. So you had to be vetted by IMSA. And have a license, so they did a full review. Talked to all the race directors that I've been involved
that's
with.
Not like a driver's license, because I have a license.
It's a race license. They care about your safety, but you also have to have pace.
Yeah. Right, because you were telling me earlier that there was, in one of the days of racing your car, you were running in a pack and it kind of spun out on you in the back end. You were going into some bank at
I was going. It's called the Indianapolis turns, and it's banked, and it's a very fast turn. And I went to the throttle in the mid-turn and looked at the video. That's how I know I was going 130, and the front end went that way, the back end went that way, and I saved it. And I kind of slid sideways for just a little bit, straightened it back up, threw it in third gear, and made the next turn. But the guys I was racing with, they were gone.
Sayonara.
So then I was riding around the rest of that race.
Kind of by yourself.
I was waving at people.
Look at the view I got. Look at the view I got.
That car, I mean, it seems like, well, you saved it, no accident, no problems. I mean, that's pretty good. I mean, so are you running the same track that the Le Mans race is going to be on, I guess, the next day?
That's right. We were actually the last race on Saturday morning before the 24-hour race started.
Wow, that's so cool. So you're just warming the road up, baby.
That's right. They love it when they're laying down rubber.
Yeah, right. They do. Yeah.
Yeah, heck yeah.
Yeah, it was amazing because most Le Mans weeks are going to have rain. There was no rain all week.
Oh, wow.
And the 24-hour race.
What part of France are you in there?
So you're west of Paris, about 2.5 hours. Beautiful countryside.
Very nice. West of Paris. Did you go anywhere else while you were there? So you literally you were on business trip.
That's right.
That's great. So what does it feel? What's the feeling like when you're actually behind the wheel on this iconic track? What is that like?
It was definitely surreal. The people over there love the American V8, and so when you were just pulling out of the paddock to get on the track, it was packed along this fence, and they're all like, you throw the clutch in and give it a couple of pops so that they could hear it.
Yeah,
and they were going nuts. I mean, the fans over there really enjoyed the
energy.
They really like racing.
Hearing an engine pop too.
Oh my gosh,
something about that.
It was great. And I don't get nervous in a race car. I get really chill.
Yeah.
And it's for me that you're usually sitting there about 15 minutes on the false grid, they call it, and you're sitting in the car. I've fallen asleep sometimes.
Really?
Because I start doing breathing exercises, and I just really clear my mind because you don't have time or room for anything else.
Wow, I bet. I mean, I did the Vegas racetrack one time and took some different exotic cars out. And
that's cool.
And it's a cool track. I mean, it's pretty unique because the guy on the right could probably drive the car better than me on the right.
Yeah, I know.
From the right
Oh, that's
seat.
amazing.
Occasionally he'd grab the steering wheel. He's like, there's another car that does skid outs or whatever. It's like a Dodge
like
Charger
drifters.
or something. Drifters,
drifting.
So when that drift comes by, he'll just grab the steering wheel. He's like, just keep it straight here. And, come by, and you're just like, okay, and it's crazy how that works.
It is. Yeah, it's I've done that Speed Vegas experience.
Yeah,
really cool.
They say that I think it's the top 11 times are all in a 911, all of them in a GT.
Is that right?
Yep, all like the top. Because I asked him, he said that's the fastest car for that track is that Porsche GT.
When I did it, you could do I did Porsche. I did a GT3 street car.
Yep.
And then did the GT3 Cup race car.
Yeah.
Just to feel the difference. So it's amazingly different.
Really? Because
I
always felt like when I had a Porsche, and I always felt like that was the closest. I mean, it felt like a sports car. I mean, it felt like a race.
Yeah, on the race car, you don't have the traction control.
So
because it just slows you down.
Yeah. Okay.
But you can dial up the analog brakes. But
well, that's something I want to ask you too. Is like, what's one thing the average person doesn't realize about maybe the mental side of racing?
Yeah, I think when people get into this, they start off by doing an experience like you're talking about or the Porsche track. They have no idea what those cars can do.
Right.
They think, hey, I've driven fast on the road and they can go straight, but they don't brake hard enough.
Right.
Like when you go to brake, you go to the brake, and there's no coasting.
Right.
In racing, you are either
Gas or
on
brake.
the gas or fully on the brake, but not in between. And so that's what most people just don't.
If you're coasting, you're wrong.
That's right. That's right. And so and then you just learn car control. Like people just don't understand what it takes to control a race car. So most people, and we did this, my brother and I, we tracked. So we go to these track events in a street car. Then we got a race car. You're not racing anybody. You're just out there driving the track, learning how to car control. Then now you get wheel to wheel with 40 other cars.
Yeah.
And the awareness you have to have, like it's unbelievable. And the other thing that most people don't understand, and you see it on the road all the time, is how far you have to look ahead. So you're never looking. So people ask me all the time, what's it like to go 170 down the Mulsanne Straight?
Yep.
I don't feel 170 because I'm looking so far ahead. I don't feel speed.
Right.
I'm looking for my next turn in. And then once I see that turn in, I'm looking for how I'm tracking out.
Right.
And so the eye control is what gets people. That they just so they just don't. And then your body and your mind connect those dots, and you just keep forcing yourself to look ahead.
Wow, that is so crazy. I mean, it takes a lot to it, and you're right. I don't think about it, and I think it's like how fast can I go, and and the braking, and when you're hitting that brake, it's gas and brake. Does it overheat? I mean, do you have to be aware of that, or you're using special brake pads?
No, I mean you think about it in a 45-minute race, you're replacing your brake pads, rotors. Every race, and completely new tires. So the key is you don't want to glaze the brakes.
Gotcha.
Which means you gotta, when you first go out on your warm up lap, is you go about 20%, 30%, 40%.
Okay.
So that you don't glaze them over.
And that's something that you just learn over time, or
You do.
Okay.
I mean, so Denton Carden Racing, Casey Carden is a professional driver, Porsche instructor over at that Barber school, and so they teach you all that. He's and the video analysis after every session of where should you brake pressure, where should you get back off the brake, where should you go the gas, what percentage gas. I mean, you're picking all that up. And so it's not a bunch of thrill seekers that race. It's a bunch of analytic people.
The tinker and tinker and tinker and tinker
that are just trying to figure out where's that edge, and then awesome. You find out where the edge is, like I did at 130, and then you get better and better at catching it, so it doesn't go all the way around, and you move on with the race.
I grew up with a different kind of racing. It's Friday night dirt track racing with sprint cars. Those guys are crazy. They're not thinking analytics. They're thinking.
Oh, that's right.
They're nuts.
That's a little different.
That's a different type of racing. It is. I've worked all week. I'm jumping in the car and going as fast as I can.
But they understand car control like better than anyone.
It is. If you've never seen it, dirt track racing is
So I haven't watched this. I probably will because I love documentaries.
Half Mile.
My wife knows I love
Not even Half
watching documentaries, and there's one that just came out on Prime, I think it is. That was about like the hit or something, and it's Tony Stewart on the dirt track where he well-tailed the guy or whatever, and there's an investigation.
Well, the guy got out of his car.
Well, right, but they're also saying that everybody was going around the track, and that I guess I've only seen the trailer.
You kind of drift through the corners in a dirt track. It's kind of a weird drift.
It slowed down.
It was under double yellow.
Yeah.
My personal opinion is he certainly didn't mean to hit him.
Yeah.
But he should have slowed way down.
But I do think that it's kind of like you played around on a jet ski and you spray your buddy.
Yeah.
I think he was trying to spray him for dirt.
Gotcha.
And he shouldn't have been out of his car.
Shouldn't have been out of his car. Yeah.
But I think the back end left a little bit. So I do think it was completely accidental.
Do you think it's accidental? Yeah.
Yeah. And
who's got the phone? Oh, that's probably you, huh? Or is it me? I don't know. Could be me.
I like that ring, though.
I do like the ring.
I love that
standard ring.
It's neat.
Hey, it's all good. We're here. We're just having fun, baby. So, switching gears a little bit. You're not quite though, because you are developing the Emerald Coast Racing Track, right?
That's right.
What's the vision behind that? I mean, where do you see it filling the gap in the racing world?
So what's happened in the U.S. and then other parts of the world? It's kind of a new concept in really the last 10, 15 years of racing country clubs. So think about a great golf course development.
Okay.
And instead of a golf course, you put a really nice road track.
Yep.
And then you have real estate around it. You have car condos where people that can enjoy their car collections. And so there are 18 of them in the U.S. right now that are complete. From California to up the Chicago area, New York. There's 2 in southern Florida that are open, and there's another 20 under development right now. Really? In the U.S., including ours. But so the Racing Country Club is unique because it's really not about a lot of racing. Yeah. It's more about a place where people can go safely drive their sports cars. Okay. And it's more street cars that'll be utilizing it.
So you got a Corvette,
That's
you
right.
got a 911, you've got something like that. You can run it up there. I mean, Maserati, whatever it is, you could pay a fee and.
That's right. So we'll have just like a golf course. You'll have. So there's several ways to get on a track like this, including ours. One is to be a member. So there's an initiation. There's monthly dues. There'll be food and beverage, clubhouse, just like a golf course. Okay. And then we will have outside track organizations and manufacturers rent out the track. Okay. And have track days like I used to do. Gotcha. And they completely. An instructor sits in the car with you. Okay. Your car, it has to pass inspection. Yep. And then you go through levels, to progress.
So that'd be like Ford might say,
That's
"Hey,
correct.
we're going to rent out this Emerald Coast." Is it right? Emerald Coast Racing.
Emerald Coast Motor Club.
Motor Club. Okay, Emerald Coast
ECMC.
Motor Club. ECMC. I like it. I like it. Well, we know what that one stands for.
We do.
I mean, we're a little torn on the Billfish and Blue Marlin.
It's Blue Marlin.
We're gonna find out. We're gonna find out in break. We're gonna find out in break. Right. So, just viewers, listeners, just stay tuned. We're gonna find out.
We are.
But there's so much opportunity for this. In fact, I've already talked to Ford about them bringing in a school. Porsche bringing. We're gonna have a paddock area that is has electronic signage. So whoever's there. Do at a school and they bring their cars, it'll be all Ford.
Oh,
it'll be all
nice.
everything about
when
it.
You say a paddock signage, what does that mean?
So a whole paddock area with classrooms, and that's where the pit in, pit out, and a big building. We plan on having a public restaurant there.
Oh, nice.
So
cool.
that
you
people
can
sit up there and watch cars go around.
That's neat.
And we'll have amateur race organizations like the ones I race with,
right?
That rent out the track, and
so you'll be able to come to a race.
That's right.
Okay,
that's right.
Very good. And then these condos. I mean, are we talking like 2-3 bedroom type condos, or is it like more? I don't understand that world.
People call them car condos. They're really car storage units.
Okay.
So because we can't have bedrooms in those.
Okay.
We have standalone villas.
Okay.
Which are houses and villas that'll be all around the property as well.
That people can buy,
those
rent out.
Those will be 3 and 4 bedroom.
My Airbnb, whatever.
You can't. We can't rent them, so it's got to be.
Okay, so owned.
Got to be owned.
Yeah, it's got to. It's got to be owned. Here's the situation. We back up to Eglin Air Force Base.
Okay.
Eglin has rules.
Yep.
We can't have bleachers. You don't need bleachers at a road track. We can't have buildings more than 2 stories.
Okay.
We can't have lodging.
Okay.
So you can't run it like it's a hotel.
Gotcha.
So certainly your guests could come stay with you and that type of thing.
Yeah.
But picture if you walked into a car storage unit.
Yep.
They'll be in groups of 5 joined, and downstairs, to the outside of the track, you open it up and 4 cars would fit in a unit underneath. Okay. With racks, you could put 8 cars in there. Then you'll have a mezzanine level. Okay. Something like for a sports man cave. Okay. That you can design it any way you want. You can do an office there. You can do a studio.
I gotcha.
Right? And then it has an outside balcony that overlooks the track.
We could be podcasting from the track, baby. I see it.
Let's go
now.
location.
I see it now, baby.
On location.
So we could do those, but those aren't. They won't have bedrooms in those.
Gotcha. Right.
But we have.
And then would those overlook?
They would. They'd all be around the track.
And so that you just basically open up a garage door and peel right out onto the track. Is that?
Well, you come out from behind. You'd go.
But you go around and then. Okay.
That's right.
Okay.
That's right. But this property that we've found is a unicorn.
Yeah.
Because here we are in Florida.
Yep.
You're thinking flat.
Yeah,
but not up.
I'm
but not
thinking
up,
flat.
but not up by Defoniac. As you come off of 331,
You're getting close to Alabama.
You realize how much. That's
You're getting
right.
close to Alabama.
But it has 120 feet of elevation change on the property.
Does it really that much?
Yeah, it's
Because I know right now we're about 3. We're about 3 feet above
You'll
sea
notice
level right
you
now.
near, like,
next time you get north of Owl's Head,
Yeah, I go up there
you'll
all the
start
time.
realizing that the 331.
So are you
does it.
north of I-10 or south of I-10?
South of I-10.
So south of I-10,
On the west side,
west side of 331.
correct.
Okay. All right. Would you get to it from 331?
You would.
Okay. All right. And are you near like the bombing zone for Eglin Air Force Base or something?
Absolutely, because just driving a race car in Pasadena enough, you need to have another element. Let's make this a video
Let's
game.
make some explosions.
That's
right?
what I'm thinking here.
Like,
That's
let's
so
really
great.
be
Drop the
aware of our
ball.
surroundings.
So if you're listening, the Emerald Coast where we live, and every locals will understand this, but we're very near Eglin Air Force Base, and it's a large Air Force base. They do a lot of practicing, and so they have areas that they do. They practice really the sounds of freedom. And
That's
so
right.
You hear
Your
some
dishes
bombs. I get
rattle
it.
in the cabinet.
Well,
I
we're
get it
in
at the
there.
house,
It's
yeah.
called the impulse zone. That's why
Okay.
there are restrictions.
Gotcha.
And we can't have night lights. We don't need to be out there
Right.
at night anyway. And so I kind of like the fact that we have that and we have
Sure,
rules because,
sure.
neighbors, worry about noise and worry about things happening at night. Like, we can't do it. Eglin doesn't allow us, so that gives us some cover on that.
So it's no small feat to start this. When do you think that this Emerald Coast Motor Club is going to kind of come to fruition? When are we going to start seeing some burnt rubber?
So we'll get final approval hopefully in the next 14 to 18 months.
Okay.
Final development order.
Okay.
And then shovel in the ground at that point.
Yep.
It's probably 2 years before a track is completed.
Okay. So you've got somewhere inside of 3 to 4 years.
That's correct.
Right in there to.
That's correct.
Okay. All right. Perfect.
And we'll do all the-
I knew a little bit about this. It's been in the works for a little while too.
Oh yeah. He's been working it.
I've
yeah.
been working it with my brother and a guy named Steve Gamble, Stump Brian Steve. If you know,
I know
him down here.
That's how I know about it.
Yeah.
I'm good friends with Steve.
Oh yeah, he's
So
awesome.
this has been his dream of his for a long
Absolutely.
time.
So he and I were down here talking to the commissioners, trying to find the right piece of property. Probably working on it for the last 6 years. But we got conditional land use approval. That was the first step, which was in October, which means a racetrack works on this property.
Yeah.
And it's crazy because it's general agriculture. It's a tree farm now. In general agriculture and zoning, racetrack is specifically mentioned.
Oh really?
Yes,
Very
So
interesting. That is a unicorn then.
it really is.
Wow. Yeah.
Wow. That's amazing.
I remember it was about maybe a year and a half ago. Steve told me, he's like, I think we found a spot. I think there's a real spot we can do this.
Well, if
He's like, I don't know if we can do this.
If this whole $10 podcast is still around there in that 3-year, 4-year period, we'll definitely have
We're
to
coming.
do it on
Yes.
site. We coming.
Oh, we're coming.
We coming.
We're
baby.
coming. We're coming. Race
So
day.
we've got 11 folks that are investors in it to buy the property, get the original development,
Right.
engineering, all those things
Right.
done.
Right.
So we got a good group. We got different people with different disciplines: a builder, a developer.
Yeah.
So pretty excited about it.
No,
I think we
that's
got the
great.
right lineup.
It takes a lot to make that happen because, like the way you're saying, I mean, I don't know anything about racing. You do. You got to have somebody that understands developing. That's so important, and I mean, there's got to be. I mean, just in my head, I'm just thinking about the thickness of concrete.
Right.
I mean,
And how much you gotta pour.
and how much you got to pour. Like in my head, the dollar signs just rolling.
Yeah.
That's right.
The protective fencing, whatever. I mean, you
it's-
just got.
We're going to do
Yeah.
FIA grade level 2.
Yeah, okay.
Which will allow you to have racing. But yeah, like I said, 80% of what's going to be going on there is going to be people tracking their street cars.
Will you be able to do anything like they've got these kind of go-kart, I call them go-kart, but they're really even, they're almost slightly better than the normal go-karts, that you might see out in Vegas that go a little bit faster, and the general public could come and maybe have, something like that as well.
So we will have a karting track.
A karting track.
And it'll also double as an autocross where you do car training. It'll be wide enough to do that, probably with a sprinkler system, so you can practice wet driving. Mm-hmm. We're going to do teen driving schools
very
as an
good.
example.
Well, that's now a law.
We're going to do work with the fire and police.
Okay.
That's great.
We've talked to the folks in the county about
Great.
having them come out and do training. But
Sheriff Atkinson's a friend of ours. Anything you need, we'll give him a
absolutely,
buzz.
he's great.
Tell him the jabroni sent you.
He's a good guy. He really is.
He is
a
a
good
He
great
is.
guy.
We talked to him.
Yeah.
The superintendent of schools is completely pumped about it because you have the welding school, you have the car maintenance school. We're going to have a full car garage to work on the people's cars that are there. You got a hospitality school that's part of the trade school. So we're really looking forward to,
You've got a lot going. I'm really excited about it. So Emerald Coast Motor Club, is there a website? Is there a way that people can get on a wait list?
So we haven't launched the website yet, but we are on Facebook and Instagram.
So look up, and I'll post a little screenshot of it, but we'll look at and it's under just like at Emerald Coast
Motor Club.
Okay.
Yep.
All right. So we'll definitely I'll post some of that up so that our listeners can check out Emerald Coast.
And as we're going along, we're going to have once we open up the website, you can go on there and show your support by signing a petition for the track. Okay. And we're going to have Walton County residents and then other people that say they want to support it. So that's really clear.
Probably be close, right?
Absolutely. So there's a missing area here. Back to your original question, the closest track is Atlanta, Birmingham, New Orleans. Your road courses, Daytona road course. So you're all 5-6 hours away.
There's
a
here.
lot of car people in this area.
A lot.
Yeah, from Pensacola to Tallahassee, I can only imagine.
That's right.
Yeah.
I can only
You guys
imagine.
will do well. That'll be great.
Well, this is a great segue into, and we can play the music for Juice, but we're gonna have a little icebreaker here of the Delve cards.
We're going Delve early.
We're gonna do it. We're going Delve early. We're going Delve early.
Juice, oh Juice, where are you? We're waiting patiently for what you do. Google Guru, he'll make it right. In a flash, he'll solve the fight. Oh man, he's good at poker, that's right.
And I'm not good at poker, but Juice is.
But no, we do the Delve cards. It's a great icebreaker, and it's a perfect spot where we kind of wrap in a little bit of the racing up. And again, check out Emerald Coast Motor Club. We'll flash it up there. But Delve cards are DELVE. So parents, again, listen out there. The Delve cards, DELVE. You can find them online. Great icebreakers when your kids are young and they're tweens and teens, and they come home and I don't know. How's your day? I don't know. What are you doing? I don't know. So put them on your table, pull out a Delve card. We're going to play one of them right here. We're all answering. We're all playing along. Go ahead, Brandon. What's the question?
This is definitely not for a teenager yet. I just pulled this one. What grown-up problem were you least prepared for when you entered adulthood? That's a thinker, because I wasn't ready for any
taxes.
of it.
I feel like taxes.
Yeah.
Right? When I entered adulthood, now, what I will say is I did like TurboTax, and it was a lot easier than I thought it would be. I've since graduated from that.
But it still took 2 days.
But yeah, I mean, I remember taxes. I just was like so confounded by the idea that I would have to pay some, figure it out, and then I was getting money back, and then I realized that's wrong. I need to figure this out a little bit better.
That's a great answer. Taxes are a weird thing. You can have 10 accountants do your taxes, and it's a different number.
Yeah.
How's that? And the government's like, okay, I'll accept that one. When the government knows, why don't they just say it? Just tell me what I owe you. Why do we have to do all this?
You show your cards.
Yeah, you show your cards.
You tell me
show me what you got.
Anyway, that's a great answer.
How about you, Brandon? What's your answer?
think,
what's your answer?
Yeah, I think it was the expenses of things. I mean, you don't really plan for that, but the more stuff you got, the more expensive it is, and the more money, more problems.
Right.
Great philosopher said that.
Well, we don't know how great a philosopher he is now.
Now I know.
I mean, it was Diddy.
Then
It was.
I don't even know if he wrote those. I don't even know if he wrote those lyrics, but that's true. Well, look where he's at now. More money, more problems.
Money. Well, hey,
right.
That was more baby oil. More
Oh, gross.
Oh, boy.
Jason back.
Where are we going?
We're gonna poke fun at Diddy.
Yeah, baby. So, Steve, what do you got?
So for me, it was travel.
Travel.
I didn't grow up where I was traveling a whole lot of places. We went places in cars. So, when I got into the business world, I started my career at Ford Motor Company up in Dearborn,
Did
Michigan.
you really? Okay.
I've been up there many times.
And I had to travel for business. I had no idea how to book a plane or where you should sit or rental car and hotel.
Yeah.
It's a lot.
Yeah.
And so, now I'm sitting here with 3 million miles on Delta. I've kind of gotten better.
You're kind of a pro.
Yeah, kind of a pro.
Yeah.
Book it. You know what? I feel like today I would not know how to book travel. My wife does it. I told somebody the other day, if something were to happen to her, I have to hire 10 people.
Yeah.
I mean, I'd have to hire a
Amen.
monster force.
Amen.
100%.
I have a lot of help.
Yeah. We were talking about taxes, though. I had a tax attorney tell me one time, said, when you turn in your taxes, that's just your first offer to the government.
It is. Isn't that weird?
A lot of times they accept it. For most people, they accept it. For some people, they come back.
They come back. So weird.
So again, parents, and honestly, even young couples that are just newly married, I'm telling you, get Delve card, put it on your kitchen table. You'll thank me later. And we're just going to take a quick little break.
All right.
And we're back, and it's a perfect time for me to talk to you about True North Pest Control. Those are my my heroes, my superheroes for all your pests, mosquitoes, everything else. Check them out, True North Pest Control. They will take care of termites, mosquitoes. What are those little people like to call them? Palmetto bugs.
Yeah, that's a pretty name.
Yeah,
it's a giant cockroach that can fly. So from Indiana, we got them about this big.
That's
Here
right.
in Florida, it doesn't matter what home you have. You could have a $10 million home on the beach or living in a trailer. You're going to have those little dudes.
Hey, in True North, man, they are everywhere too. Tony and his clan, they are just incredible people. But I'm telling you, they are all over Georgia, Central Florida, and here on the Emerald Coast. So True North Pest Control, baby.
Get rid of them.
That's
Awesome.
right. That's right.
You don't have to share your health with them. Get rid of them.
That's right. That's right, baby.
That's right.
So let's get back to the show. And before we dive into the next question, we've had a break. We looked it up. I was wrong. Both of you are right. It's Emerald Coast Blue Marlin Classic.
I think people know what a blue marlin is more than a billfish, but a billfish is blue marlin.
Yes,
it's like a whiskey is a bourbon.
I think when they first started out,
bourbon is a whiskey.
The first anniversary was probably billfish. I probably go back a long time ago, and that's probably where I was right. And then
you were
wrong.
probably right. Yeah.
Probably right.
Yeah, you're fine. You're right. It's still a billfish. But you know what?
Now he set himself up to be wrong twice.
That's right.
This is awesome.
It is one heck of a fishing tournament. For a small town that we have, prize money's through the
What's
roof.
the prize money? I mean, I don't
I've
even
seen
know.
a guy what was it? I mean, it's up there. It's
There's probably $5 million or something like that.
It's a big number,
right?
$500,000 for a fish.
Oh, yeah.
I mean, I just don't understand.
No, Stan Blackman, who was on our show early on season 1, was fishing, I think, You Never Settle and or You Never Know, something of that nature. And Stan's going to kill me now. I didn't know his boat name, but he's the captain of that boat down at Orange Beach, just got second place in their classic. And I think he got almost a couple $100,000.
Isn't that wild?
Yeah.
For catching a fish.
Well, it's expensive to do it as well.
It's not a cheap sport.
65 Viking.
Yes.
And the gas.
Well, the fuel, the crew, and
$500,000 plus a year to operate that boat. So,
Right.
If you guys haven't, I've never seen it. I know a lot of people are listening to this, but imagine an amazing boat, $3.5 million boat, fishing boat, beautiful. And they put these bladders on the front of it so you have fuel when you're out there for 3 days.
Oh, yeah.
That's right.
But it's incredible.
Those bladders what they use to get out.
Yeah, right.
And then they roll those up and store them.
Exactly right.
And then they come back.
They get them out. That's exactly right.
Yep.
Wild.
Well, I was in the Keys. We pulled in the Keys. We had that 63 footer that we operated years ago, and I was fortunate. Honestly, my kids were all not partnered up, and so they were the tweens to early teenagers, so not quite driving and all that kind of stuff. And man, we would go from as far west as New Orleans all the way down to the lower Exumas. And I captained the boat the whole time. But one time I was in the Keys and you saw somebody's about to make a big trek down, and that's what they did. They bladdered up in their cockpit, and they're filling
Yep.
tons
It's a lot
and
of
tons
fuel.
and then
It
of course fueling the boat up. But yeah.
Right.
Yeah. Anyway, all that
that's
stuff
amazing.
amazed me.
Yeah.
I was a little farm boy from Indiana. I never saw anything that cool.
Farm boy.
I'm with you.
What do you call it? It's hill jacks.
We kind of there's hillbillies and there's rednecks and then there's like hill jacks.
That's what Indiana always heard, hill jacks.
It depends if you live in the holler, if you live on the ridge.
The holler of the ridge.
Get out of my holler.
Them hollers are deep.
Hey,
up
I went
there.
hunting with him.
You don't want to get stuck in a holler.
And it's just like straight downhill. I've seen valleys in Georgia and everything. But
try to climb out of one of those. All the soil is loose. You're just grabbing roots trying to get up.
I just feel like I need you to throw me a line.
Trying to get a deer out of there. You're like, oh no.
It's like a pulley system.
Please run uphill. Please go uphill. Please go uphill.
Well, let's get back off the ADD train here for a second. You've spent over 3 decades leading in risk management and building business operations. How does that mindset of managing risk translate to high speed racing or vice versa?
Yeah, I've been really fortunate. As I said, I started my career at Ford Motor Company and ended up in the risk management department as the buyer of insurance and managing risk, and then got on the brokerage side from there.
Okay.
Because I realized Ford made cars, and I didn't want to be a buyer. I wanted to be somebody that was selling that stuff. And so worked with one of the large brokerage houses, Marsh, and I moved back to Atlanta. And really like the business because you really are helping your clients think through, what are the things that keep them up at night. And then you think about employee benefits. How do they take care of their employees? How do they recruit people? And then you think about their liabilities. And insurance is kind of the last thing in that you do. The biggest thing is running your business the right way, and being safe. So I've kind of always enjoyed that. And I had I do things in 13 years in my career.
Okay.
That's the way it works.
Okay.
So I did 13 years at a big brokerage house.
Okay.
Learned a lot of things, got exposed to some amazing clients, like UPS was a client of, et cetera. And then I went to another firm called Beecher Carlson, which was headquartered out of Atlanta, a boutique firm that focused on large accounts.
Okay.
So Coca-Cola was a client.
Okay.
We built that up over a 9-year period of time.
Right.
We were private equity backed.
Okay.
And sold that to a company called Brown & Brown, a publicly traded broker.
Okay.
Stayed there during that, and at 13 years, I decided to leave. And now I'm at my current firm, which is Epic Insurance Brokers. And I learned a lot. And how it's the same and how it's different is I've learned, if you don't just go jump in a race car, you got to train, you got to have a plan.
Yeah.
You got to have a plan of attack. You've got to know what you're focused on, where you need to improve, what your business plan is, what kind of car do you want to drive. Yeah. Right. And
constantly adapting, changing, pivoting,
that's
working,
right. That's
reviewing.
Right. And what I always loved about our business is one second I could be sitting there thinking about Coca-Cola and the risk they face, and then the next it's UPS, it's airplanes, and so you really had to be able to adapt pretty quickly. So I think that translates pretty well to you don't control the conditions in a race car, you react to them.
You said earlier that it's not the thrill seekers necessarily that are getting into it. And I always tell people in business, I've met people and everybody wants to meet that disruptor. But, he's a disruptor, and it's the next Elon Musk or disruptor. And I always tell them disruption is very close to destruction.
It's a fine line.
So it's a fine line. So sometimes that thrill seeker is not necessarily the one that gets in the car or the business.
That's right.
And can operate it. Sometimes they can come with incredible ideas. They can't always operate it,
Yeah. I mean, I left a multi-billion-dollar firm in the brokerage business to go do Beecher, which was about $9 million of revenue when I was part of it with, about 25 employees.
Right.
And so, you learn, hey, you got to make payroll tomorrow.
Yeah. That's right.
And there's different concerns.
Sure.
The things you didn't think about when you're working for a big company.
Well, every entrepreneur needs to learn that. I mean, that's a life lesson, young folks out there.
Yes, it is. Yes, it is.
When you got to make payroll, it makes a big difference. What I thought was interesting that you just said is because I hear insurance and I think, okay, I need fire, I need water, I need house or whatever. And I understand you're talking, the insurance brokerage firms you're working with are really for business owners.
That's right.
That's right.
Yes.
You said it was the last thing you get to. So when you go in and assess with a company that's wanting to work with you, it seems like you're analyzing their business. It almost feels like you are a consultant in a way more than just a insurance.
So kind of my shtick, through my entire career is teaching people not to be reliant on insurance. So demystifying it, because buying insurance is like, nobody likes that.
Yeah. Tell me about
It's
it.
not what I talk about at cocktail parties.
Right.
Right. We'll talk some racing.
I really never
just
knew.
want to buy it.
I never knew what you did until now.
But exactly, you would have never had me on the show.
That's right. You're my neighbor, and we've had wings together and watched football together, and I'm just now finding out this.
But it is. It's okay. What products do you want to launch? What are the product liability risk of that? Mm-hmm. How do you think about it? How do you contractually transfer that? Mm-hmm. So insurance is just a way to help yourself around the edges. right? So that you don't, something happens and you can take care of it. It doesn't break your company.
Yeah.
But it's all the things that are smart business and contracted and legal and, just think about worker safety, right?
Yeah.
I'm passionate about that.
Yeah.
You run a really good operation, you take care of your employees and you make sure they don't get injured and you take care of them if they do. You're going to be running a good business.
Absolutely.
Mm-hmm.
Absolutely. I mean, and I think the workforce, as it continues to get the next generation on, I think that people are looking for that.
Right.
They really are. I mean, the gone are the days that, you can pay the least amount of money for the most amount of work.
That's right.
I mean, I'm not saying that there's not that person out there that's going to show you. And I always tell my kids, like, don't be the complainer. If you're doing the extra stuff and nobody else is, somebody's seeing it, just do it.
That's right.
You want to be that person.
Good attitude and work ethic,
but
you can succeed at
But that's
everything.
that's not necessarily everybody out there.
And like when you're dealing with clients, do what you say you're going to do.
Mm-hmm.
It's not complicated.
Well, yeah. I mean,
or you lose your clients.
Yeah,
That's
that sounds easy, but there's
this
not a lot of people that get that though.
Yeah, it's this one. That's right.
Yeah. Hey, you've been down here. We got some contractors that, that I'd like to talk to again. don't always show up when they say they're going to show up.
No.
You get a nice clean day on the water and it's hot outside in the summertime.
Try to get a subcontractor to show up.
Probably not going to get that job done you're looking for.
Right.
Yeah.
So, yeah, for sure. So you've worked with 500 companies. You've led major acquisitions. What have you learned about people, trust, leadership when building something that complex?
It's a really good question. So I joked around about the 13-year thing.
Mm-hmm.
What I've really done my entire career and in personal pursuits is you got to reinvent yourself.
Really?
Yeah.
Tell me
So I had a really nice job at a really large brokerage firm. I could have ridden that out and gone pretty high in that company, but I decided I had to be challenged. So I went to a smaller firm where they already had an established team. I was the outsider. I had to prove myself to them. Right. And I ended up becoming the CEO of that company. I just did it again with the company that I'm with, Epic, which is our parent company is Galway. I went. It was about $300 million of revenue, so it wasn't small.
Okay.
We're $1.7 billion now. So I've been
That's
there.
Pretty big.
I've been there 8 years, and I'm CEO. I had to.
Feels like a quadruple.
Yeah. Nobody was asking welcome.
I said, hey,
you're going to be our leader. You have to prove yourself.
Here's our gift basket.
And I kind of love that. But
what did you come in at Epic? What did you come in?
So I came in at the holding company level as president, and I was gonna transition into leadership in one of the divisions.
I mean, when you go in and you're taking over CEO, I mean, am I like Japanese swords and going to fighting? Is there a duel out? I mean, like, I want to know, like, how do you get rid of the other guy? Do you start passing bad messages under the table? Is it email?
Well, it's a funny story. When I was thinking about leaving, we had sold our firm.
Yeah.
I stayed the 5 years during that period of time, did everything we delivered the company. But I knew it was time for me to go reinvent myself and do something new. And I called around to different firms that I knew. And John Hahn, who's the founder and chairman of Epic, I called him and he said, and I was asking about firms I should talk to that were private equity backed because I was comfortable in that. And he said, well, what about us?
Nice.
And I said, well, John, you got you and you got your number 2 guy, Pete. I want to earn my way to running it, but it sounds like you guys already have this covered. Right. And he looked at me and goes, this was 8 years ago. Steve, we're both 62. Does that sound like a plan?
Yeah. So,
so I came aboard. I was
successation.
Yeah.
So
I was 52, and he said that he thought that would work out well.
That makes sense.
It's a line right on up to our plan there.
Yeah. That's right. But so I learned, going back to the root of your question, from the firm that I was part of building, everything came through me. And I was looking for leaders that could step up and that I could run, and there were great people there. But it was my fault. It was only going to get to a certain size because everything had to come through me. It was hub and spoke, right? And I realized that kept a lot of stress for me. It was a great firm, but we topped out at where we did. So when I came here, I said, listen, we got to find good people. If the great people aren't here and leaders, we got to develop leaders. We're doing a lot of acquisitions. We bought those firms because we thought they're good firms. Let's pay attention to the leaders in that.
That's right.
And put them in leadership positions.
Yeah,
And a lot of
got
people
you.
don't do that.
Yeah.
And so the reason we've grown to where we do is because I have 20 plus people that I depend on and I trust them.
Right place, right.
And
right people, right?
I just don't think I was mature enough in my leadership style to understand that. So I've enjoyed that evolution. So I feel like, wow, we have close to 6,000 employees, and I do town halls and do messages and all that. But I'm day-to-day core dealing with 20 people.
That's very nice.
And that's about the
Very
max.
nice.
Usually it's the sweet spot is 12 to 15. So 20 is a lot.
That's right.
But having direct reports, it's
And we have another business that our chairman, because we were running the insurance side, was going great. Our chairman freed himself up, and we got in the wealth management business. So we brought on a firm called MAI, who does RIA, pure wealth management. It's been fascinating learning that business as well, and it's a cool business because MAI spun off years before from IMG, the sports agent. So we've got a lot of athletes and entertainers that are our clients on that side, and then on the insurance side, we do the NFL, we do Major League Baseball, we do soccer. If it tours in the United States, we do the insurance on the tour.
Wow.
So AEG, Live Nation. So we do the event cancellation. So it's a lot of fun.
Very unique.
The type of people that we're dealing with on the insurance and on the wealth side.
Very cool. Yeah, a lot of different eclectic clients. What is the craziest thing you've heard of somebody asking to invest in? I mean, it's a newer side for you, but there's got to be, because I just feel like somebody in the entertainment industry is wanting to get into like giraffe farming or something,
So the advice we give athletes is, if you can drive it, eat it, or drink it, don't invest in it.
Lease it.
Don't invest in it. That's not a business. Because so many of them do want, and there are opportunities certainly in distilleries and things like that to put their name on it, but you don't know how to run it.
Everybody's doing that. Everybody's doing that. I mean, if I drink another celebrity whiskey, I don't know.
That's all there are now.
I know. I just feel like, and they're all the same.
Yeah.
But literally, we have thousands of ideas that come from our clients, and we vet them to say, they go through. We got an investment committee at the center of the company that looks at those and say, are these viable? And some of them are. Some of them are good opportunities, but we help protect them from getting into things they wouldn't otherwise.
That's huge. In fact, I think it's something that a lot of people don't realize, that on the wealth side, especially if you're a young person out there, you want to take risks, but really you need to understand what compound interest is.
That's right.
Because if you can hit that 7 to 12% sweet spot at 20, and you keep investing money into that compound interest is going to, by the time you turn into your 55, 65 years old, it's going to be huge.
Time is your friend.
Time is your friend.
Time is your friend.
I don't know whether it was a 30 for 30 or it was an HBO special, but it was about 15 years ago where they talked about all the athletes.
Yep, I've seen it.
And how they lost their money.
Yeah.
Sad story after
cautionary
sad story.
tale.
Between what they spent money on, the hangers on, the groupies and all that. I will tell you, it's not like that anymore in professional sports.
They're getting better.
Oh, that's night and day.
If
you come in the locker room now and you're driving a differir car every day, the other guys in the locker room are looking at you going, you're not going to
last.
You're an idiot.
And they were also told to focus on their craft. And don't worry about brand and your personal image and what happens next. Now it's the opposite. Yep. Those guys want to be around CEOs. They want to be around, and they're smart. They're top of their game at what they do.
You've got some dispensable income.
It's refreshing to see.
Not everybody needs to have a car wash. Whatever. Right. They need to figure. If you don't know how to manage it, and every uncle that calls you or every cousin that calls you doesn't need that.
Doesn't need $50K.
Yeah, when they say, I got a guy.
I got a guy.
Yep.
I've heard that. Great. I just need $50K to get started.
That's right.
Well, go earn $50K.
That's right.
Exactly.
That's exactly
but the ones that are disciplined, and I'm telling you, it is now a large percentage of them that are. First contracts, they'll live off of 20% of it.
Oh, that's awesome.
Smart.
And then the second contract, they'll live off 10% of it.
Yeah.
If they're lucky enough to get into a third contract, they don't touch it.
They're done.
And then they're set for life.
Forever.
Yeah.
Well, and teams are now, professional teams are starting to think about how do we use equity in the team as a form of compensation.
Well, now
Really?
that's interesting.
Yes.
now.
That's
That's
cool.
very interesting.
Because that equity's they buy these teams and it goes up just like anything.
So the other thing that's happening is we all know college is turned into professional sport.
It
For
is.
sure. For sure.
So now private equity firms are going to be buying into college teams.
yeah. Oh, wow.
You can-
So
yeah, we'll see
for
that.
the whole marketing, the name, likeness, and image,
Yeah.
you think about the value
Yeah.
of a professional franchise. Well, same thing, University of
Bulldogs.
Georgia,
Yeah,
right?
absolutely. Yeah.
So there's no reason that somebody couldn't come in and own that aspect of that team.
Yep. Yep.
And then the players can make money off that, et
But
cetera.
how,
Mhm.
at some point, they've got to, I mean, so the NFL is concise and you've got a commissioner, right? And same with, well, PGA Tour, I was going to say, but they got the old live golf thing. But, you know, a lot of these organizations are, I mean, we've got so many conferences and different things in college football. I mean, do you think they're gonna have to get it under control, right? I mean, it's just the Wild West.
Well, so there's a settlement. I think it's been completed, which basically puts a cap
Okay.
at $21 million for all your sports
Yeah.
Okay.
that you can spend.
On every, that's it.
That's right.
Okay.
Yeah.
And but these players though that they can leave when they want to leave if they're not getting the playing time. I mean, it feels like if you sign a commitment to get paid a couple million a year over the next 4 years, you ought to be there at least 2
Or give it back
I-
when you leave.
I think they should have
collective bargaining or something.
one opportunity if it's not their right place
Yeah.
to transfer, or if the coach leaves.
Yeah.
Then it's like, oh, I signed up with him. I should have.
I like the idea, Steve. You're it.
Yeah.
Next commissioner of NCAA
or
football.
whatever they're going to call it next. Because
Yeah.
I think they've lost their teeth.
Yeah. NCAA.
Not
They don't want to be
NCAA.
sued anymore. So
They're
they're
done.
like, yeah.
Honestly, I kind of like it because they were
Oh.
ridiculous. You
Some
remember
things-
the 80s and 90s were ridiculous.
The inconsistency of the way they applied
Yes.
rules was crazy.
Absolutely. Oh,
You
they
can't
were,
tell me
they were
SMU
paid under the table.
That's
Can you tell me SMU was the only place
Yeah,
paying
come
players? One school?
No.
Come on.
Right.
Come
right.
on.
No.
Yeah.
So, with everything you're doing, CEO, race car driver, developer, I mean, what's driving you now? What is the why behind everything you're doing in this stage of your life?
Yeah, so you got to go back a little bit. 6 weeks before I was married to my wife of 35 years, I lost my father. And I lost my dad. He worked for the railroad, a very hard-working man, traveled a lot. And he was diagnosed with a brain tumor and passed away. He was 60.
Okay.
I turned 60 2 weeks ago.
Wow.
So I vowed, looking at that, he worked so hard and he was stressed, and we'd go on family vacation. If a train left the track somewhere, he left and went and took care of it. If it was a derailment, and he was just starting to relax and enjoy his grandkids. He was 43 years to the railroad, so he was able to retire, was just about to retire. And I said, I'm going to enjoy it along the way, and so that's what I've done. So the things like racing, the things like I played a lot of competitive golf, got into racing, again, reinventing myself, like the challenge, but that's kind of the root of my why.
Okay.
Is I don't want to sit, or I don't want to sit.
Yeah.
I gotta keep going and
enjoy life and the people around you as much as you can
That's
while
right.
you can.
And for me, listen, success is whatever you want to define it as.
Mhm.
But for me and our wife and our boys, it's about experiences, not things.
Yeah.
And that's just been really important. So try to make their world bigger. Traveling overseas, doing things, and so proud of both of our boys who are following their passions.
I was going to say that tell us what your boys are doing. 'cause
Yeah,
I know
so,
they're both doing
so
incredible stuff.
It's my older son's 29th birthday yesterday, and he is a singer-songwriter, lives in Atlanta, plays all over the Southeast, hadn't asked us for a dime since he was 19 years old,
That's awesome.
does all his own contracting, and really proud of him, works really hard.
Where would we hear some of his songs as singer-songwriter? I mean,
So
besides
he's on all the streaming music
Okay.
services. His name's Lane Denton,
Lane
Layne.
Layne, Lane
Yeah,
Denton.
so you can get him on YouTube, you can get him on Spotify, you can get him all the streaming services, and he plays live 6 days a week, somewhere. And then our younger son, they're 13 months apart. is a television sports anchor for ABC in Huntsville, Alabama.
Oh,
That's awesome.
cool.
So
Now, he
he's,
was the last time, this was a minute ago, but wasn't he out west?
He was in Eugene, Oregon.
Yeah.
He was covering the Ducks, and but in that business you got to keep moving off market.
You
Right.
do. You do.
And so I think he went from market 120
Yep.
to I think market something like 85 to 90, somewhere in
But
there.
it's got to be so cool, too, though, that here he is on the East Coast now.
Yes.
Right? So Mama's
close.
got to love
Oh
that.
yeah, 5 hours away by car.
Yeah.
And he went to school out at University of Southern California,
Okay.
and really stayed out there. He worked for the NFL Network the whole time he was in school.
Oh, wow.
So the red zone where you're trying to get your
Yeah.
stats for your games.
Yeah.
He was in the talent's ear, reading them the stats of the games, all the way
That's
through
cool.
college.
Very
Wow.
cool.
What a great experience at USC. That's
Yeah,
cool.
he
And
loved
by
it.
far, that campus is great.
Oh, he
That's a beautiful
he soaked
place.
it. He didn't know a soul when he went there, and absolutely took advantage of everything they had.
What made him go to USC? I mean, were you on
No.
the East Coast the whole time?
Oh yeah, so
So you've always been East Coast.
that's right. Well, we lived in Seattle a little bit, but they didn't even remember it. They were so young.
Gotcha.
But that was his stretch dream school. He
Okay.
knew he wanted to get into sports broadcasting, and they've got an incredible program. And he got in, and
So does the University of Georgia.
No,
they do. They have a really good one.
Was he
A
out
very
there?
good one.
Was he out there when USC was good at football? Oh, sorry. I had to say it.
So he was there. Their best year while he was there was, I think it was 16 when Sam Darnold was a freshman.
Oh yeah, yeah.
And they had a good run then, but they kind of went downhill from
Oh
there.
man, they've
But
been
they were-
forgotten about.
They were a while there for a while. They were pretty
Oh,
good.
yeah.
Wasn't
Reggie
that, isn't
Bush.
that Snoopy Dogg.
That's Snoop
Snoop
Dogg.
Dogg.
That's right.
team. Isn't that
He's an
Snoop
LA
Dogg's
guy.
team?
Yeah,
Yeah, that's
yeah.
what I was thinking.
So Will Ferrell actually
Oh,
went to
really?
school at USC and was a sports broadcast major.
Really?
Really?
Was he
No
there when
kidding.
Will Ferrell showed up to his son's frat party and did the whole old school thing, DJ'd on the back of the deal?
No, but he interviewed him his senior year.
Did he?
He did a remote Zoom interview with him.
Very nice.
And those eyes were pretty glazed over. He was funny.
Those SNL
great.
guys.
That's so good. So legacy is a big theme we come back to. What do you hope people say about what you've built on the track and in business when it's all said and done?
It's a great question. Not an easy one to think about.
Yeah.
When you're doing things like we all do. I live by a pretty simple rule. It's a golden rule.
Okay.
How you treat people the way you want to be treated.
Yeah.
I hope people would say that I'm tough in business, but fair.
Yeah.
And I hope people would use the word generous. Try to be and do the right thing and causes that are really important. Just like the track, we want to do teen driving. We want to do, I mentioned off air, we're working with a karting company. Racing is expensive for young people to get into,
Mhm.
but that doesn't mean that's where all the talent is.
That's right.
And so there's an organization that we're going to partner with that'll run the karting facility that really pays for 95% of kids who have talent that can get all the way to Formula 2.
That's huge.
And so those types of things
Yeah.
are really important to me. It's not just people who have money that can go out and
Not just
play with their
consumption.
toys.
Not
That's
just
right.
consumption.
That's right.
That's right. This world, we're better off when we realize we're not the only ones in it.
Absolutely. 100%.
Yeah.
Listen, I think everyone I know and my friends have far exceeded whatever their expectation was for their life and their family. And so when you're blessed, you better do something about that and give back.
Come on. I love
I
that.
probably don't
Steve.
scratch the surface of what I should do, but certainly important.
At least you're aware of it. Half
right.
people aren't even aware.
Well, and I always tell people just do better than you did today.
That's right.
Yeah.
Right? That's all you can do, man. You just
I've
do what
got-
you can and then move forward.
I've got a great one of my business partners. He calls it SLED.
Okay.
You got to suck less every day.
I love it.
I do.
love it.
I need that in
I
my
love
life.
it. That's
I do
so
need to suck less.
Thinking good. So, young
Yeah.
folks, sled, baby.
That's right.
I like that. Yeah, I like that one better than the kiss method.
good.
Just
I do
don't
too.
Suck anymore.
I do too. Well, see, this has
Suck less.
absolutely been a pleasure. Again, if you're listening out there, Emerald Coast Motor Club, we check it out. It's been an absolute pleasure. I've got one question I've been asking pretty much everybody this year. I want to ask you, what would you tell your 25-year-old self if you could go back and tell you anything?
Just chill. and enjoy the ride. Good things are going to happen if you do the right things. Trust your instincts, but don't worry about the future so much. You got to have a plan, but I was always thinking 10 years out. I want to be here versus being satisfied with where I was. I've gotten better as I've gotten older about being more present right now. But when I was 25, I wish I'd have been more like that.
That's great.
That's great advice.
That's really good.
Great advice. Yeah. Well, this is the spot that I like to say, listen up, kids. Listen up, kids. What a ride. From Le Mans to leadership, from racetracks to risk management. Today's conversation reminds us that success at any speed is built on vision, grit, and knowing when to hit the gas. Whether you're building a business, chasing a dream, or just trying to stay in your own lane, there's power in staying curious, staying driven, and surrounding yourself with a strong team. A big thanks to our guest and my friend and my neighbor, Steve Denton, for taking us behind the scenes and under the hood of a life lived wide open. Until next time, keep your eyes up, foot down, and remember, or don't. I mean, what the hell do I know?
What the hell do I know? I'm just JB, middle-aged dad with ADD. Candid combos, jokes so lame, jabronis pulling a poker face. Just a couple of dudes with ADD.